you guys are doing well. I wanted to do this live to give you guys some secrets to the credit game. So, as you guys come in, just try to hit the like button for me, and I'm going to break down some details. If you have questions, you could put the questions in the comment section so I can get to your questions tonight. But I want to break down some information on just some secrets in the credit game. So as you come in, just hit the like button for me, and also just let me know where you guys are located and where you're coming from. So I don't want to take up too much time because I know it's Saturday night for people. So we're going to jump right into the information. So what we're doing on this channel is talking about not only credit but other ways so you can make income, because income is a big part of the credit, really on getting thank you for coming in from Texas, North Carolina, on how you can get approvals. So what people biggest problem is with their credit is generally what it breaks down to is two things. And I'm not talking about people with no credit, because that's a whole different subject. If you have no credit, you tend to have bad credit, but no credit is a whole different thing on how to build credit. And I might actually talk about that if people are interested in that. And also, you guys, do me a favor. While we're doing these Q&As, give me suggestions on what you would want to know, okay? And thank you for joining me from New Jersey. Let me know what you would want to know are topics dealing with credit and all that you are interested in. You more than welcome, Kimberly. Thank you so much for joining me. So when it comes down to credit, you basically only have two problems if you have bad credit or trouble credit. And I say this all the time. Credit is nothing but an algorithm. So when people are teaching you about credit, they're really showing you little ways on the algorithm on how to improve your credit score. But really, the algorithm is dictated by your financial behavior. You have to truly get an education and know what you should be doing and what you should not be doing. You could be a good person, but you could have terrible financial behavior. So when they say credit worthiness, are you worthy to handle credit? That is basically what it's boiled down to. Thank you for joining me, Keisha, and thank you, Connie. Oh, Connie, thank you. You've been joining me every night. I really appreciate it. So they want to look at, are you worthy to have credit? So that algorithm pick up your behavior. They want to see if your behavior, are you financially fit for them to lend to? Understand, when it comes to the credit system, it was never designed for you. So that is secret number one. If you ever want to understand the credit system, always remember it was never built for you. It was built to make money off of you from banks and other financial institutions, even the insurance industry. All of these industries, for landlords, is to make money off of you. It's not for you. So you got to keep that in mind. The second part is income. So you have to have income in order to go along with the credit. Most people problem with their credit, some kind of way, their income got cut off. Either they got sick, unemployed, and they just didn't have enough revenue coming in, just having one source of income. So when that happens, people can't pay their bills. I never seen someone who just said, I just decided I'm going to just jack my credit up. That's what happened. No, something happened that led to that person really not being able to pay their bills. Primarily, it's financially. They didn't have enough income. And some people are just terrible when it comes down to knowing how to operate financially. Their financial behavior is terrible. So you have to really focus on these two parts. You got to learn what to financially not to do to be picked up by the algorithm as a risk, and you need to show income. Okay, so that's number one, the secret. Remember, if you attack it from this angle, remember this system is not for me. So you'll be surprised on how many people think credit is for them. Second secret, in order for you to build and be responsible with your credit and to not get in trouble with your credit, you got to think not from your wants, but from a business standpoint. Too many people that come to me about credit, but I want a house. I don't see why they picking on me type of mentality. Understand their mentality for you is to make money off of you. Remember, banks, uh, 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 banks a lot of times are making money off of interest. They don't really make money off of annual fees. Majority of their money is off of interest. Insurance companies, they're taking your money off of a premium and they're making money off of that premium. They're giving you nothing tangible. Insurances just give you peace of mind. So even with them being in that institution, they're really not giving you anything tangible for what you are. They need you, so it's not like these institutions are really providing you such a great service. These institutions wouldn't exist without you. So they need to make money off of you. So without you, they wouldn't have a business. Remember, banks, even with credit card companies, they just have a product they put together to simply lend to you, to make interest off of you. So with those credit card companies, even with loans, they need you or they wouldn't have a business without you. So you need to know that. But you got to understand what they're looking for. So when it comes down to credit, you got to think on their business standpoint, what will look like a really good investment for them. Understand, they are going to charge you on what financially you look like as an investment. So you want to dress yourself up as the most solid investment for them as possible. So you got to know what that look like. So number one, I want you to put yourself just in a position. I'm a landlord. Imagine you own a home and you're going to rent to somebody. Number one, just like in the credit system, they want to look at what is your past payment history. If you were a landlord and you were looking for a tenant, you want to know how they paid in the past. You want to know, were they a good tenant in the past? Did they cause troubles? Did they not pay their rent on time? Did they have issues? The credit system is the same way. 35% is payment history. Did you pay your bills on time? Because if you didn't, you don't look like a good risk for them to give their money back. Number two is utilization. If you're a landlord, imagine you trying to rent somebody an apartment. If they don't have enough money coming in and they're always on the brink of not being able to pay their bills because their credit cards are maxed out and they're one step away from missing payments, they're one step away of being maxed out on what they can pay, you wouldn't think that's a good risk. This is what utilization is. A lot of you guys got to learn not to override your credit cards. A lot of people think my credit cards are for an emergency. That is not what your credit card is for. Your credit card is what they primarily want you to use it for, is why they give you points so you can get interest. Okay, so you want to understand, you don't want to trigger anything for them. This is why when you guys want to apply for other credit cards, it's very important that you pay down your credit cards or pay them off if possible, because The more maxed out, or if it looked like you got high utilization and you're going to apply for another credit card, you look like a risk to them. It just looked like you're one step away from not being able to pay your bills or to default off the loan. So you want to make sure that you manage that. You bring that down, because remember, you're not a consumer. You got to look at it from a risk standpoint on business. Then those two categories are 65% of your credit score. If you can get that licked, you just about got the majority of the game on how to work those two areas. Then they look at uh, 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 age of credit, how much experience you have with credit. And you would want to know somebody, if you're a landlord, I'm not crazy about renting to 20-year-olds, because even if they had an apartment last time, there's not enough history here to understand what their behavior might be. And so this is the same thing. You want data. You want to know this person is a consistent good risk. So is it the same thing with you? They look at how long is your credit history. I got more data to work with. Do they have good standing accounts for a long time? This is why they consider age of credit. Then they want to look at 10% mixed of credit. They want to see how you handle all different types of credit, because which is installment loans, credit cards, because this gives them more opportunity to make money off of you. Going back to banks, primarily make money off of interest. They want to see that you're financially responsible to balance all of this and how you treat each account. And last but not least is 10% is inquiries. This is one thing that you gotta stay control of over, because if you're constantly fishing for credit, the bureau, not the bureau, the lenders see you as being in financial distress. Always remember, nobody want to work with you in the banking world if you really need money. They do not want you to be desperate for money, because they believe you're one step from defaulting on a debt and they're not going to get their money back. Okay. So you have to look at that from that standpoint. And now going even deeper, you got to look at the system. So understand, these institutions, banks, even insurance companies, there is a level of discrimination, and you cannot deny that it isn't. I work for as a insurance producer, which is an insurance agent, a licensed agent. Everybody know, you right now, your premiums are different if you live in a certain neighborhood, whether if you don't live in a certain neighborhood. They take what you are a risk by what's going on in your neighborhood and in that zip code. It's the same thing for lending, okay? Banks and institutions. A lot of you guys are looking at, hey, if I get my credit score to an 850, I can get what I want. I'm telling you, there are some people in different neighborhoods that only got a 680 credit score. And you can live in a certain neighborhood, got an 850 credit score. You will not get what they're getting, even with your good credit score. Because what they do is look at, this is why certain codes on your real credit report. This is why they look at your zip codes and your addresses. The reason why they judge what they're going to lend you on the average credit score that's in your community. So certain places, they are redlining. Don't get it twisted. So some of you guys might not be living or getting to your potential top lines of credit because you living in certain places. You may need to get one of those, not P.O. boxes, but those real street address boxes in a different community, a wealthier community. So take, for example, I'm from New Jersey, and I use this, I'm from Newark. Average credit score there is 650. So somebody with an 850 credit score might not get the credit lines that somebody in Bedminster with a 680 would get. Just making it type of credit score into the good credit category. So you need to know that. So you might need to get another address in another community if you're that person. And you already know that's how insurance works. So this is not lies. They're looking at these things. Also, age. Don't think they're not looking at age. So even if you live in some of these upscale communities, you're a certain age, banks start to look at you. Even insurance companies start to look at you. They even, as you notice, elderly people, they don't want, really with elderly people even having a license to a certain extent, because it is a risk for the insurance company. So you want to really start looking. A lot of people think, oh, okay, I'm older, I have, good credit, I can borrow. Come to when you start approaching a certain age, they are not that enthused about lending you certain largest amounts of money, because they don't know how long you really have on this earth to get a return back. So these are other factors that you got to take into consideration. So one of the things that you need to really focus on is not just focusing on a 850 credit score. If you're in 720s, you need to start leveraging your credit to, one, make money. You shouldn't always be looking for things you got to pay for. You need to try to make that credit score work for you. So you got to understand how now, okay, I know they're trying to slave me out, but how am I going to leverage their debt to work to my advantage? Make their debt make money for me. So you have to start thinking that way, because there can come a day and time that when you reach a certain age, they may not be enthused to lending to you the way they are if you were in a younger age bracket. Okay, so consider that. Another big secret, but a lot of people are coming into light with this, that the credit bureaus are not bureaus. They're really just private corporations. That's all they are. They have heavy lobbying power, and this is why they get away with certain things. Give me a second, you guys. They're getting away with certain things, okay? They have lobbying. Give me God, I have some candy. I'm sorry. They have lobbying power on their advantage. So they pay politicians. But a lot of these things that they're doing against you, there's laws already in place that they're not supposed to do in the first place without verifying this information. But what it is, they're making big time money off of you. Number one, they're really incentivized to keep negative credit information on your credit reports. Because one thing that people are not going into and discussing, the worse your credit profile is, the more they get paid to sell your information. Believe it or not, starting from the beginning, banks and lending institutions, even insurance companies, the worse your driving score is, the more they can charge you. They are now justified to charge you, and they're not going to have that much they're not going to have any other that much competition for your business. Okay, they can charge you a lot more, okay, because you are a risk, and they can justify that. So a lot of them want you just jacked up enough to justify the charging you more premium for the risk, but that they know you're going to pay. Let's so put it like that. If you guys can do me a favor, it's 32 people in here. Make sure if you haven't thumbs up the video, make sure you thumbs up the video for me. It actually is helpful for the algorithm. So they want to justify that. It's the same with credit card products, with banks. Like I said, banks need you. These institutions need you. So they have a product for those that subprime, those that mid-tier, and those that are top tier. Remember, the top tier people with really good credit, there's other companies really aiming to get their business because they're low risk. It's a lot of competition. Some subprime is great for them because they can charge you tons of interest and only lend you like a credit line of $300, which in the realm to them, that's no big deal to them. 750. They write that off anyway if you don't pay them back. So they get a tax write-off. So it is great for them to have to lend you less, but charge you way higher interest. It's a win-win for them. So this is why for subprime and profiles, credit profiles, because all remember, those mailings that you getting in the mail for pre-approval offers, whatever it may be, oh, they're paying for that. The bureaus isn't giving them that for free. That is their business, to collect data on you and sell that information. This is why they don't want to remove negative information. Because if they remove it, they're losing out on pay. This is why they make it so hard for you. Understand the other credit secret. A lot of people think the bureaus, like you're their customer. You're not the bureau's customers. You're their product. They don't give a rat's patootie about you. Actually, you're a formality. You're actually a burden to them. For them, you disputing, they're only doing that because the law forced them to do that. That's something they don't want to do, and it's very expensive for them to try to deal with. That's why they put all this stuff in place, Oscar, all these deterrents in place not to deal with you, because it's not profitable for them to deal with you. They just want to gather information and sell it. That's all they do, is to make money. The worse your profile is, the more these institutions is going to pay for your information. That's how it works. Then on top of that, with the credit bureaus not removing this information, they don't even follow the protocols of the Fair Credit Reporting Act. They are supposed to actually call these institutions, and when they report this negative information against you, they're supposed to verify it when you dispute it over the phone. They're supposed to speak to someone about whether this is true or not. They don't never do that. They just send this with the Oscar system. They will just send an electronic notice to the lender on the other side that's going to say, yeah, that's true. And then they come back, it's verified. And this is how they work, because most of these lenders, the bureaus make them report a certain amount of names every month in order for them to have access to credit reports. They have to have a subscription, and they are demanded. Or if they don't give a certain amount of information on people, they won't have access. Okay? So this is why you're starting to see a lot of resistance for pay for deletion, or for them to remove an account, because the bureaus is forcing them to give this information. They are forcing them in order for them to have access. So these two players, them collection companies with the credit bureaus, they in the bed together. They are all working together. And so they need that, especially with collection companies. They got to report this. You see now, they don't want to do pay for deletion, because in order for them to have access, in order for them to have leverage to do their credit terrorism on you by slapping this stuff, they got to have a relationship, a working and abide by the rules of the bureaus. And that is to report information on you so they can keep their billion-dollar machine running. So this is all one system really set against you. This is why you got to know as much as possible so you understand on how should I look as a good risk financially, what pitfalls and traps I don't fall in, and how to dress myself as up as a risk. Another thing, I have people reach out to me and get all upset in this, your job information. They got my old job information. So what? Keep that. Because the reason why they put your job information is so collection companies know where to garnish you. And people will be like, oh, they garnished my job. How you think they found it? It's on your credit report. So keep your old job up there. What do you care for? What do you care for? A lot of y'all, you don't want to look inconsistent by keep switching jobs anyway. If you had a good paying job, you need to keep it on there. Another thing, being self-employed will get you denied for credit. Being retired can get you denied for credit too. It's 44 people in here, 43. Make sure everybody hit this, give me a thumbs up on this video. But you might not need to put that out there. You might need to use your old job information that you have. Because a lot of y'all, if you go and apply, especially with these algorithms at night online, your application won't go through, and it'll be under a review, internal review. A lot of times you don't want that. If you know how to play the algorithm, you can just get approved because it's a computer generated algorithm. So it's a machine judging you. And long as certain factors are in line, it won't trigger it to kick you out to deny you. Or the algorithm determine how much of a credit line you should have. So if you start to learn some of this stuff, like, also certain addresses, like I said, in certain neighborhoods, you might want to remove off. If you don't have, you might want to dispute that off, especially addresses you have collections attached to, charge-offs, if as all possible. Even if you're disputing your first job, might to be able to get a new address in a different place, even if it's one of those mailbox address, and not PO box, but having a real street address box, to get those before you even start to work on your credit, and use that as your new address before you start disputing items. Understand, everybody. Oh, so self-employed, yes, self-employed really can go against you. Self-employed can get you denied for a home or a longer period of time. Understand, this is the matrix. They don't want you working outside of the matrix. They really don't. Self-employed makes them real nervous. Even retired can make them real nervous. Self-employed to get you denied real quick, to be honest with you. Real quick. I had to learn that. If you're self-employed, you got an LLC, you might need to say, I'm an employee of that LLC. Your employer, and you put your company's name. So, it will get you denied real quick on a lot of things. They don't control, as you write, control. They don't want you to look like a runner. And that's in the slave days. Those that will run for freedom, they don't want you to run for freedom. They want you on the plantation, okay? They want to put the cherry oak tree on your back. They want to keep you picking the chifferoe. All of that. This is why, now that you see Credit Karma and all of this, you get a new address. Hey, this your address? They on it quick, fast, and hurry. And some of this stuff, to solidify, when you change your address, you may want to go to the post office and send a certified letter using that address, because they're watching everything. LexisNexis, a lot of these, they are keeping track of this. If you notice with the post office, when you send a certified letter, that stuff get reported through the credit bureaus. So to the credit bureaus, they pick up on all this public information, and that's from LexisNexis. So when you change that address, you need to go and put a change of address at the post office, and also just to a friend or whatever, solidify it by sending a certified letter using that address as your address to someone else. So they're watching all of this. Also, to solidify that, if you're going to CVS, You're going to some of these things to open up some of these discount cards, or, to open up those things using that address. All of that is being watched through LexisNexis in the background. All of this is re-solidifying this. Understand, if you got active open accounts, you want to switch those accounts to that address, if all is possible. Because here's the thing. The bureaus don't believe you, and they don't want to believe you. You're not their customer. They don't believe nothing that you say. They will believe them because that's who they're working for. That's who pays them. But they don't care about you. So you need to learn how to leverage this stuff. This is why many times y'all get a response, oh, well, the lender said that you live there. So what? I'm telling you, I don't live there. You see what I mean? Why you think they're giving you those responses? Because they don't give a rat's patootie about what you saying. That's basically what they saying. I don't give a about what you saying. If he's saying you live there, you live there, because that's who pay me. You don't. Another credit secret. Stop disputing in them apps online. Don't do it. Number one, it robs you of your rights. I don't know why people can't wait, be patient. Don't dispute on that Credit Karma app and Experian app. They actually make money off of you doing that. The bureaus charge that lender anytime you do a dispute like that. They get paid for them to have that service and only to deny you. And it takes away your rights because they'll tell you, number one, if you choose to go this way in that language, you're choosing to go with what we agreed. I mean, what the outcome is. You never do that ever again. Like he said, yeah, I learned that a hard way. You want to send in your mailing, certified mail, so you have proof. Because then you have a avenue to file a complaint if they're not responding or acting accordingly to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. So you always want to make a paper trail, and you lose your rights by going that way. So keep that in mind. Don't be lazy. Put in the work, and you're really feeding the beast by doing that. You're actually making them more money, and it's not helping you in no way, shape, or form. Another thing, credit repair companies, they don't have a right to dispute for you. That's in the Fair Credit Reporting Act. That's why they can say it's frivolous. They don't have to respond to you, because anything or anybody disputing outside of you don't have a right, not even an attorney, to dispute your negative credit information for you but you. Okay? So if they feel that your dispute is coming from a credit repair organization or something that's classified in the language of a credit repair organization, they don't even have to respond. Nada. And some of y'all just itching. I just need a credit repair. This is why most of this stuff ain't moving for you. Because they do that. This is why Oscar is in place. This is why with my packages, I use affidavits. So you cannot lie that it wasn't me. You cannot lie and say it wasn't me, because I sent my dispute letter with a freaking affidavit where I had to, number one, go to a notary that is authorized by my state, show my ID, and they put a sealed and sign that it was me. So when I send that in the mail to you, an affidavit, a sworn legal document, and what I swear to, not the truth or whatever to these items, that I am who I say I am. As Eminem, I am whatever you say I am. No, I am who I say I am. So that's what you're doing. You're showing proof that this is me. This is not a credit repair organization, letting them know as Star Wars, your Jedi Knight tricks is not working on me. Okay, this is me. And so you can use that same one for every whatchamacallit, and just copy it and keep sending it in for all your disputes. You want to let them know and show them it's me, so they don't use that doorway out. So when you go and file your complaint, you can show that if they purposely, because they'll have an automatic, oh, this is not enough information, lies. And then you can file your complaint. These are all lies. Okay? I sent you an affidavit. You got my ID. You got a copy of my social security number. And as I tell people, also put a utility bill or some kind of bill connected to the address that you're sending. Okay? So this is what you want to do. You want to have that affidavit along with that letter. So whether or not this is what they're doing, what you get around, they can't say, oh, it was a template or they did it. It looked common like that. No, no, no. My affidavit is on here. I got an affidavit that prove who I was as a sworn statement. So don't pull that on me. So when you put that affidavit onto your dispute letter, now, once they receive it, you can call up and let them know. When they say, oh, because they'll play them games on the phone. Hold on. It's an affidavit attached. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's an affidavit. The sworn document that I had to go to a notary who is authorized by my state. And I had to show them, and it's the state seal, that's me. So don't play that that's not me. So that's another secret. You can call after you send that affidavit. But make sure they'll ask you, do you want us to process this dispute and respond to you online? No. I don't want you to consider this as a phone dispute. I want you to honor. I just want to make sure you received and begin to process my written dispute. Don't let them respond to you online. That is helping them. They don't want to do a paper trail. So they want you to do it online because this benefits them. That helps them to reach that time frame for them just to send you in that 30-day window response, easier for them than to send it out in the mail. Okay? So that's another secret. When you send that affidavit, then you can call. But make sure they do not open an online dispute. You want to say, no, I want to make sure you receive my written dispute, and then you let them process it from there. So I'm giving you some secrets of things that you need to know with the credit bureau. There's a lot more, but I'm going to start answering questions, and let me see what you have here in this section. So I'm going to start reading off your questions. Connie said, Sherry, since they say Credit Karma is not good to use, which one you think is the best one to pay for to try to clean up and get and straighten out? Credit Karma is a Vantage 3.0 score. Basically, Vantage scores, no lender really use it. I haven't found one that used the Vantage score. So you got to understand, probably trying to use Experian, My FICO, and you got to make sure, because I know Identity IQ, they have one, but one of them is you got to make sure you paying for a credit monitoring system that's giving you a FICO score, not a Vantage score. So Experian, My FICO is good. Also keep in mind, there's different scoring models of FICO. So if you get in a house, it's a FICO 2, FICO 4. There's FICO 6. There's a FICO 8 is the most common. And there's FICO 9. There's a FICO 10. So it depends on what score that lender is using to judge their lending terms. You can just Google that and look that up. But there's FICO 8 auto, there's FICO 8 bank card, there's FICO 10 bank card. There's different scoring models. So I'm gonna say my FICO will be a good one, or Experian to go with. But always make sure Credit Wise and all of those are Vantage scores. So that is the difference between the two. Peace be still said, I've been in an apartment forever. I always, as you paid on time. How can I see those past payments? Ask the landlord or your building, do they report those past payments? If they do, I did a recent thing on Credit Rent Boost where you can report your past payments of up to 2 years of your rent. Now, it depends on who you are in life. You always want to be careful of your DTI, sometimes debt to income, depending on what you're going for. So sometimes if you're trying to build credit, you might want to report ongoing payments. But if I'll be careful, just because they will verify with your landlord. If you had some trouble in the past, I wouldn't do that. But ask them, do they report it? Because if they report it, it would be on your credit score. If not, you can report it, and you can ask them to just go through those ranks if you want to verify just the past 2 years. If you good, if you want to continue with your continuing payments, they have an option for that too. They also gave me a discount code if you want to use that service. But that's what you're going to do. Ask your building if they report it, or look at your credit report. Then you can see if they report it. If not, you can go through those avenues to have it reported yourself. Just going off of the last payment history, Credit Rent Boost, go for the last year's, or you can go with ongoing reporting. So I hope that answered your question. And be sure, say question, due to the loss of income, my car got repossessed. My score was in the 730s, now 558, 585. I'm sorry. How do I make a comeback to better credit? And ask, can you answer this for me? When did your car get repossessed? How recent was it? I need to know that information. Let me know how long ago, how recent. Give me that information so I can tell you the best way on doing that. And that I want y'all also to recognize time do matter on how soon or how long ago certain things happen. You have to take a different approach to to how you should handle things or how you should build credit. So if y'all have questions, if you can, give me those details when you answering your questions, please. Thank you. How long should you wait to apply for another credit card after paying down your highest score, your highest card? I would give it on a safe way 2 months, depending on how hard you was riding it. And when I say 2 months, that means reporting. So if you're going to really be responsible with your credit, and if we having these kind of discussions, one thing I'm always going to speak on a standpoint is the reporting side, because I constantly monitor my credit. You should too, with a viable credit monitoring system. Not no okie doke. Yeah, Credit Karma is good to see if, new items come on for free, but I actually pay for a monitoring service. So you want to look at reporting, because a lot of people got a misunderstanding. Because you paid your cards down don't mean it reported yet. So you want to know your report dates, and you can look at that on your credit scores. You can see when was the last time that card reported as being paid on time. So I'll wait at least 2 months. That's another thing. Everybody, don't get thirsty all of the time. Sometimes you just got to wait. You better off by scaling off, wait, let that report that is down for 2 months, and then pull the trigger on things and see where your score is. Another thing about credit monitoring, like if you ask me, That's why I said people are at, well, how can I fix my credit? How do I know if you don't know your score or what's reporting on your credit? You should always know each bureau what's your credit score. So, like a lot of people kill me like, oh, I applied and I ain't get it. First of all, if you applying, if you coming from my standpoint, if you took my classes, you should already know, especially if you took my classes. I hope you ain't say I ain't know I was surprised I got it. You don't never apply for anything if you ain't know you got it. That's the school where we come from over here, because you studying it so much. I already know what bureau they pulling from. I already know what my score look like this. I already know what they won't take, because some of y'all got to do enough research and really understand, well, if I'm applying over here to Bank of America, or if I'm applying for this card over here, what are they standards? Because some cards, you just not going to get approved before you even try it. It's like, say, Discover. You can only have 2 credit cards with them. So if you already got 2 credit cards and like, I really like Discover, I sure like a third one. If you ain't do your research, you ain't going to get a third one anyway. All you want to get is straight denied. And now you got a hard inquiry for no freaking reason. So you need to do your research. Do like Chase have a 524 rule. Like, you can't have more than 5 new accounts in a 2-year period. If you don't have 5 new accounts in 2 years, don't even bother. And so you might have to do some credit gardening. You shouldn't be applying there. So you just going to get denied whether you got excellent credit or not. That's just hardcore how they roll. You can have an 850 credit score. They don't care. They just not going to approve you. So you do have to also do your due diligence and everything. And so another thing, people ask me, this ain't nobody on here, but a lot of people feel when I give information, a lot of people problem, they don't have free thought. They think everybody is responsible for their life. So when I give information, I'm giving you facts. You got to apply that to you. You see what I'm saying? To your situation. Some people think I got close to 70,000 subscribers. Oh, that ain't work for me. Baby, life ain't all about you. We got a bunch of other people on here. And so, well, I ain't working for me. Don't nobody care, because everything ain't about you. That's another thing, people problem. They just think everything is about them and somebody really care like that. Other people is over here, and maybe this institution don't work with you, but they'll work with other people because their situation is together right now. And maybe yours will be in a bit, but everything ain't got to be catered to you. You got to learn how to apply some things to yourself. When I say certain things, if I tell you, oh, I just picked up a Versace dress, or if a girl tell me I picked up a Versace dress and it was $5, but they only got a size 4. Oh, well, I don't wear a size 4. Well, okay. Well, that's just not for you, baby. But whoever that information applied to can go right down there and get them a Versace dress for $5. But because it ain't you, don't mean that it shouldn't be put out there. Understand, have common sense, and apply certain things to yourself. Like, so when I give information, you got to kind of tailor-size this to y'all information. And there's certain things I can't really answer or make judgments for people. Like, people ask me this primary question. This asks a lot. Should I take this card? It got an annual fee. Should I take this card? I don't even know you. How would I know? First of all, would you like to read the terms and services? And does this card work for your lifestyle? I don't know. Like, somebody asked me, I got an American Express card and they got an annual fee of $500. Should I get rid of this card? What kind of lifestyle? Do you do traveling? I don't know. Do you think you can think for yourself? Does that work for you? So certain things, no, people shouldn't cancel if that works for them. If those benefits and rewards is giving you a return, then no. If you're traveling all the time, that's what primarily those cards are for. if you do business, if you got a charge card. But I can't tell you that. You got to kind of know for yourself and figure certain things out and apply it to your situation. Like, I didn't know that. Let me apply this to me. So certain things people do have to apply to their situation. Peace Be Still said, should I use a P.O. box address when no, sometimes a lot of these places want a real address. P.O. box address could, it really shouldn't matter where you live in if you're applying for a home. What's going to be important, depending on how you're applying, like if you're going FHA conventional, depending on how you trying to get that home, the type of financing is going to be more important on their guidelines for you. So getting a conventional loan, generally, they're going to want 20, maybe 15% down. So it's going to be important with a conventional loan, your credit history and how much savings you have is going to be very important. If you go in FHA, it's going to be slightly credit, it could be more flexible, but savings is going to play a part in income, and that's on both sides. Even with a conventional loan, savings is going to be a bigger part in down payment and income. With FHA, income, savings, and credit also. So that's going to be probably the main objective there. Kingdom Living said, hello, thank you so much for coming online. I'm so excited. I've been listening to you and following you for a while. You have been such a blessing that approved for Navy federal card. Congratulations on your approval on your Navy federal card. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your testimonial. I really do. I'm from Jersey City. They probably want me to have 700 and up. Well, what I was saying, Miss Andrews, sometimes it don't matter where you live in, what you have. It's because where you live in. Like I'm saying, like, it don't matter if you got 850 or whatever. The fact that you live in a certain place could, you not saying you won't be approved for certain things, but just not as much or as large as somebody over there in a better area. So what I'm saying is you might need to get another address through one of those mailboxes with a real street address and higher end or echelon of the next town over or whatever is in your area. And I think everybody kind of know what's the upper class or the upper income part of your where you at. So that's what I'm saying. It don't matter what you got. They just not gonna rock with you because they might rock with you, just not the way that I rock with her over there. That's what I'm trying to say in the most simplest way. You just not gonna get what they gonna get because you at where you at, and they detecting you might be someone that skin tone we don't want to work with. That's basically what it is. So it is what it is. It ain't fair, but it's just what it is. And D Money, thank you. You said, yep, that's so true. And thank you for thumbs up in the video. Peace be still. Thank you, everyone. Y'all doing an excellent job. Jacqueline said, yes, negative credit kills your progress if you're trying to get somewhere. I just received, a 60-day late payment when I explained I was having a financial hardship problems and shaking my head. It's hard to come back. Well, don't worry about it. One thing about late payments, I did a video. The more time they get on that, a good 90 days get on that, you'll start seeing your score come up. You can dispute it. The older it gets, the easier it is to get off when you dispute. But if anybody get a late payment, I know it's hard because you see your score drop. Try to move forward. And if you can, just try to bring the account current as soon as possible. T-Doc said, need some high credit lines. The way you can do that, I always talk about that. Furniture store accounts, things like that, that give you lower credit requirements, but because they're big ticket items, they give you larger lines of credit because they store credit is good for that, especially furniture store credit is good. But the important part, if you are applying for that, to know the regulations, know your credit score, know their what bank they're pulling from, and what score they require, and what bureau they're using to try to determine that. And if you're going to buy something, don't use up that whole line of credit because it can tank your credit score. Because the way, like I said, banking institutions don't trust you only as far as the last bank trusts you. So many a times for them to give you larger lines of credit, they want to see that you built a credit line higher, or another bank trusted you with a larger credit line before they will, because they know building credit take time. You can only get credit line increases generally every 6 months. So they want to see like you get into really especially the business credit. A lot of them, if you're going to personal guarantee something, or because you generally, for you to really rock out with business credit, somewhere down the line you're going to have to personal guarantee, or somebody is, and they want to see that person at least have a line of credit of $5,000. If we're talking about a credit line, credit cards line of credit, unsecured line of credit, in order to work with you. And the reason why credit cards are really what can increase your credit score is because it don't have any security. Unlike a home, unlike a car, what the banks can do is come and repossess that and recoup on their money. It's not such a risk. But one thing with credit cards, they are wholly basing that off of your credit worthiness. This is why if you're under a 700 credit score, you see your score jump anytime you get a credit card, whether you got negative information or not. You just got to know the lenders to go to that will approve you according to your credit profile. There's always somebody out there that will, even if you got bad credit. Sometimes, though, some people just don't want to pay nobody. So you're going to have to just, maybe to get in the door, you might have to go back and pay somebody to deal with you. So some things, like, because I have seen some people just tear down every relationship. So, but if you haven't, even if you subprime, there's somebody out there that's going to give you a card. So that's the way you want to work that, is getting bigger lines of credit. I like to use furniture store accounts. Make sure you don't use all of that. Buy something small. And then you can go and apply for another credit card. And they generally will either match that line of credit, or maybe even go beyond, or just some underneath that. And that's how you can get to the bigger lines of credit. Okay, I hope that answered that question. The dismissive or discharge, okay. Dismissed or discharge of a bankruptcy account removal doesn't seem to work anymore with the, ain't doing their job and policy. No, they're not, Bob. You are absolutely right. This is what pisses me off about Joe Biden and so-called canceling the credit bureaus and turning it over to the consumer. Oh, we're going to turn the credit scores to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. First of all, if they just did their job accordingly, half of this stuff wouldn't even go on people's credit. Because with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, they had found out last year that like TransUnion, and I think they was one of the biggest culprits, removed less than 25% or 22% of the complaints that they got. They didn't even remove 22% of their of negative, let's say, disputes of negative items. They have purposely last year, all of them, not tried to remove that. They used the pandemic as an excuse because the federal government had given them more time because of the pandemic, and they couldn't have people in there, and they made sure they didn't do nothing. That because it's to their advantage. They made that little stupid deal with them that if they gave people time and not reported in negative things on their credit report, then and let them send you a free credit report anytime you ask for it. So when you dispute and ask for your credit report, they get to add another 15 days along on that dispute. So people might keep asking for another updated credit report, and you don't know if another 15 days is added on a response, another 15 days. So it was giving them really leeway to do whatever they want to do and disregard the law. So that's happened with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, especially over last year, because nobody was doing their job. And if they would just have the simple oversight that they should have over them to make sure that they're actually calling and verifying these accounts and speaking to actual people at that company to verify that, all our stuff would really be dismissed, to be honest. And because none of them do that. They do not do that, and they know they don't do that. All of it is really a corrupt system. It is really a corrupt system, and a lot of this politics is a bunch of baloney. I'm just telling you, it's a bunch. And you know what? Don't hold your breath now thinking that those credit bureaus is going to be canceled. Don't hold your breath. Don't hold your breath to think student loans that somebody promised you is going to be canceled. Because if you haven't looked at the monetary and financial situation that's going on in the United States, their biggest assets is those student loans. that's their really gross national product right now, even though they're not exporting it, but it's really debt on their own people for student loans. That's their biggest money maker and producer, because our GDP, we got more debt right now than we do have GDP. So I don't see how he going to cancel anything. The American government is eating off of the new slavery through student loan debt. So these credit bureaus, they have big lobbyists. They make billions. And a lot of these politicians on both sides is in their pocket. So I wouldn't hold my breath or waste my time. But that's what's going on with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. But I still will follow the process to have everything in place. Another thing, if things are really inaccurate and it's a company reporting that, you can sue them. Just sue them in small claims court. And sometimes that's the quickest way to get things resolved. I just name names, not only the company, but president, vice president, employees that work there. Anybody name I could get off of LinkedIn that's in that office. Consumer Financial, the Better Business Bureau, going there, and I'll file a lawsuit on them collection companies. I have did that, and that has been effective. So that's another way to get that stuff off. And so I think I answered this question. I prayed up so self-employment go against you, and yes, it do. You look like a risk to them. Business owners, self-employed, yep, sound like a risk to them. So you need to be an employee of that, because you look risky. They know you're trying to get capital some kind of way to make investments and risks, and they're not built. They're not really beat for all of that. Now you can say you a CEO of this so-called business, but to say you the owner or self-employed, no, negative. And that's like a no go a lot of times, because certain businesses, if you don't know, certain lenders don't even deal with, especially if you're a business owner or self-employed. Say real estate. After the real estate crash, say you were a contractor, a GC, general contractor. A lot of them don't want to deal with giving you any credit, because they know what you're doing in the housing crash. You'll just find out in the land of business credit. Not every company work with you and work with your business. It's just a risk, and that they don't want to take certain ones. And certain things is very toxic, like credit repair. Credit repair, they don't want, a lot of you get shut down with a lot of PayPal. A lot of them don't want to be beat with no credit repair. So if you say, I'm going to start a credit repair business, I love when people say that. They going to be, I love the credit repair folks that I watch your information, and I've been doing credit repair for years, and I got this problem with my credit. Can you help me? What in the good Lord's name? Or I need to help my client, and I need you to help me with this. What in the world? I'm not even credit repair. So, like I said, a lot of these people be, child, bye. You better off by fixing your own stuff because they stuff be jacked up. Hit me up. Trying to, oh, could you send me clients? No, I will not. I don't, because I don't know you. And I don't know your work. No. I'm not. Why would I mess up my name over your business? Why would I do that? Like, that just don't make no sense. And I don't. I don't. I'm not saying there's not some good credit repair people, because there is. But are they legal is the question. You just can't be doing credit repair, y'all. Don't think Sherry's stupid. Don't think I'm stupid now. Don't get it twisted. If I'm saying something, it's for a reason, okay? Because I ain't going to have no problems over here. I don't do credit repair because, baby, you need to be bonded and licensed in certain states. And a lot of these folks that saying they do credit repair, I bet you they ain't licensed and bonded or applying to certain rules in all these states now. I don't care if they, okay, I'm legit in Texas. But that don't mean you could be doing credit repair in Georgia. Or you could be doing credit report in NYC. This is why lenders, you might see certain credit card companies or loan companies. You go to their website and they say we don't do business in New York and this one, New Jersey or California or Washington. And then we only do, and yeah, because they got to have license too. Not every state they complying with. Like, geez Louise. But this is why I said a lot of these people ain't business minded. Okay? They criminal minded. You been blinded. Okay? They criminal minded. A lot of these folks just hustling. Okay? They hustling. And they don't know business. And folks gonna get themselves in some trouble. You could get the police coming up on you, or the feds, or the FTC on your behind. So no. I do education only. I don't do credit repair. I ain't doing no counseling, no nothing. Okay? I got some courses. I got some books. But no, I don't do credit repair. But you better watch some of these folks that say they do. You better check some license. You better check some compliance. Are they authorized to do business in your state? No. A lot of them don't. A lot of them are not. Okay? Because an attorney ain't licensed to work in every state. Some of them dual in some states, but they got to be certified. Every state got different laws. So no. So just keep that in mind, y'all. When you say real address, will corporation address be the same? What you mean real address? Give me So Chic Essentials a little more detail on what you mean by real address. I said certain addresses in certain locations can get you denied. You won't get approved as much as somebody else in a whole different location. I hope I'm being clear about that I'm saying is discrimination, redlining. Yeah, it's just because you're in the hood, I don't want to lend to you. Because you're black or Latino in that area, Hispanic, no, they don't want to lend to you. I think that's the clearest way I could be. No, you're not getting as much as over there. Karen, okay? You're not getting as much as Karen that's over there, okay? Okay? Because she live over there. Now, maybe you need to have an address over there. And then you could get as much as Karen because they have ways in the system to block you out. That's what I'm saying. Prayed up. I'm working on my Navy Fed credit app. Now might need to change some things up. Okay. Keep me posted. Peace be still. My husband is a contractor LLC with Amazon. Does that go against him? Why can't he just say he's an employee of his LLC? Yes, that will go against him. So let me be clear. You don't want to be an owner or self-employed because it can get you denied. Now, there could be ways that you could set that up. You talk to an accountant. It depends. Like I said, on a credit application. If it's for a credit card, you can just simply say that I'm an employee of the LLC. That don't hurt you. So it's not really just what you do is how you do. As my friend said, it ain't what you do is how you do sometimes. So that's how you do that. Like I don't know how better or which way I can, explain it, flip it, whatever. No, they don't work with it. They don't. They don't. They don't like it. They had bad experiences from it. They don't want you working outside the matrix. They don't want you getting ahead. It is what it is. They don't want you making money like that. They really don't. That you using this you doing what we doing? They don't like that. They don't like that. They want you to be a slave to the system. So they like you having a job. And that job ain't guaranteed. But they feel like your business is guaranteed. You can jump up and quit that job or get fired any day. But that's just the way they work it. That's just why a lot of people now are going with fintechs. So because this is an outdated way of doing business with banks a lot of times, but it just is what it is. That's just how it works. It's like I'm almost 6 feet, child, 5'10". I can't be a horse jockey. Is it fair? No. I like horses. I don't like to ride them too much, but that's just the system. They ain't nobody going to hire me to be no jockey. Just is what it is. And that's how that just ain't how things go. And that's just how it worked with them. So you got to know what to say, how to put it. I work for them and you do work for them. Because a business or because if it's like people like to use the broad term business, but you're some kind of corporate structure in some kind of way, either a sole proprietorship, which is working under your own name, a contractor, which is working under your own name. You're some kind of business structure. An LLC, you can be a manager. You're not an owner. A LLC is its own living, breathing, basically entity itself. That's why it don't have its EIN number is its own kind of social security number. So if you die, that business live on. Like Henry Ford is dead, but the business is still there. So that ain't your business anyway. You might be entitling it like it's my business, but if you got an LLC, you're an employee. You're a manager of that LLC. It's not your business. And you don't want it to be your business. The point of you having an LLC, because if you're the business and you're the one, that means it compares to corporate veil. You're losing the limited liability. That's why a LLC means to limit your liability so you to get sued. That's the point. If not, you might as well be a sole proprietorship so they can go after everything you own. But if you got an LLC, y'all do know it means limited liability company, to limit your liability so you don't get sued personally. But if you're making the business decisions and all of that, you can be sued but you don't want to put yourself out there. So I hope I'm being clear. That's just a total whole nother thing. You can talk to an accountant, but that is the point of an S corp, a LLC. All of this is to limit your exposure to being liable. That's what a limited liability corporation is, instead of being a sole proprietorship or a independent contractor. So either way on your credit application, you're an employee. So and that's your better way to go than to put self-employed if you got an LLC or an escort. Okay, I hope that's clear for everybody. Okay, people are even being denied for credit because they use credit counseling. Absolutely right, D-Money. You can be denied if you modify your mortgage. All those little notes, or even, what's another one they say? Economic disaster. Those little, why you think the bureaus put them on there? To red flag you. Even like during the pandemic, if you had made they'll put those little slick things to flag you, but act like it was not derogatory. It was to put extra, hey, because they wasn't legally supposed to say it, but they was doing that to be slick. So all of that stuff can get you denied. Just even if your mortgage was modified in good standing, been there for years, there's certain people that will not lend to you. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So will it be ignored? So I need to dispute it if I don't dispute it properly. Okay, hold on. Let me go back to see what you're saying about being. Okay, hold on. Okay, so dispute. What do you need to pray up dispute? What do you mean? What if I don't dispute properly? Okay, what are you disputing? Because maybe I missed one of your questions. What are you disputing? Okay. So seek essentials. Do you offer this template yet? Yes, you can go to my website with the affidavits. If you get the platinum package, all the letters is in there. So yes, you can get that affidavits. And like I said, you want to get that notarized. Okay. So for the reason that I explained, so they don't have that, they couldn't properly identify you. You still might get that because they just do that because they really just brushing people off. But at least then you got your evidence and send it certified that they lying. This is just the automatic response that they send to everybody. D Money said the credit bureaus are putting codes in your profile to show that you are working with a credit program. FYI, people. Yes. Get that template letter. It works. Thank you so much. And he is absolutely right. All those codes that's on your credit report, it means different things. Location, where you live, and don't get it twisted. Even your social security number, it has where you were born. And so I had an attorney one time told me, he said, where you went to high school at? Like very casually, we had a working on a lawsuit. Where you go to high school at, or graduate high school at? And I said, and it was with an insurance company, with the suit that was going on. I said, I graduated from Franklin Township, Somerset, New Jersey. He said, good. I said, oh, good. Why? He said their offer. A lot of times, what insurance companies will offer you as a settlement, especially in a lawsuit, and this was an attorney out of Florham Park, New Jersey, have to do with where you graduate high school and where you came from. Let me repeat that. Where you graduated high school and where you came from. Your community, where you graduated high school from. Because then they think they got your mindset and what you are entitled to receive. What class are you? What color are you? All of that really makes it different. There was my parents had a lawsuit one time, and it was an attorney that told them for people of certain colors, going before a jury of your peers don't always work out in a lawsuit settlement. Because there's people that would judge you, don't want you to have a certain amount of money because of your ethnic background and who you are. And it's absolutely, you'll talk. I have people who worked in certain chambers with certain judges that will go back. I had a girl that said that heard when I said that, said, you are absolutely right. I had, and I don't think this is being derogatory, I'm just repeating. It was this Mexican family that was in an accident. Somebody got maimed. And the judge was hearing, I guess, whatever they were awarded, was hearing the amount, had the parameters of what he was going to either arbitrate out after he heard it. And the number that was put on the table, he went back in the chamber and said, there's no way I'm giving those Mexicans that kind of money. Okay? There's no way I'm giving them. And it was from the insurance company. So this goes into credit. There is discrimination. Don't ever get it twisted. If you're not our complexion, or if not, you might not see it that way. But it is there. So this is why I tell you about the system and the secrets, so you understand the traps. Like I said earlier, if you going down the street and there's a cop and it's a speed trap, and you don't know, and you get trapped up, then you didn't know. But if I come and tell you, like, look, here's the trap. It's a speed trap down there. Every Tuesday, they trying to get you, whatever. You got to change your behavior, because now you know. Either you need to slow your butt down going down that street, or you need to go another way. So this is the point of this program. Right tonight, I'm telling you the traps. So either you need to slow down or you need to go another way. You already know. Don't act like now that you know, you're in a responsibility to apply what you know. Don't act like I ain't never tell you. Whether you agree with it or not, some people get offended, but sometimes you need to be offended. And I'm not here to be liked by everybody. Sometimes it got to be lines drawn in the sand. Like I heard somebody say, there's certain people you don't want to like you. So imagine if Hitler was alive today. Would you want Hitler to like you? No. You want to be totally opposite of who and what Hitler was. So there are some people, it don't matter if you offend. You don't want them to rock with you. You don't want them to like you. So if I offend you, hey, it is what it is. But certain things and certain mindsets need to be offended because some people are stuck because they got certain mindsets. They don't understand it's a trap in that mindset. So if that offend you, because I had people that made comment, white, black, all kind of complexions. And some of the black folks is the most amazing folks because this is working against you, or are you in a better position personally? And most of them was not personally in a better position. So maybe you need to pay attention. This could be why your butt is not in a better position, because I had an attorney that said it ain't the gun that gets you in the face sometimes. It's the 2x4 in the back of your head. And you better know that one. Okay? The gun in your face ain't always what's going to get you. It's the 2x4 sometimes in the back of the head. The thing that you don't see is what's beating you down. So let's move on to the next question. But I'm just saying, remember that. Remember that. What order should you work in? Freeze your profile, update your address with the bureaus, then debt validation or dispute. You can do everything at a really kind of at the same time. You can send your freeze your profile is going to a whole different CRA company. So you can freeze your profile and start disputing old addresses at the same time, because they're going into different places. It's not going to the same places. Because remember, freezing your profile, I guess you're talking about LexisNexis, CoreLogic, Innovis, Innovis, and some of those others that you're freezing. That is not the three major credit bureaus. So that's just going into a totally different location. And then with the three major credit bureaus at the same time, you can dispute negative or old addresses, and before you dispute those negative items. So that's there. And when you're saying debt validation, that's for collection companies. So that's a whole total thing. If you're doing a debt validation, that's going directly to the collection company. So it don't matter if you're, disputing with the credit bureaus and sending a debt validation letter at a different time. If you want, probably your best format for that question is to go to my YouTube channel on credit, and you need to look at each different, what a charge off is. And I did videos on a collection, because each item is a different breakdown on how you need to handle it and address it. I don't want to do it all now because it just would be too much, because each one of those need its own attention on me just focusing on that. But go watch that video and you'll know the difference in between the two and how to address those things. But you always, before you dispute with the credit bureaus, you want to remove your negative items. Okay? I hope that's helpful, everybody. Is there any way to automatically lock your credit report by phone? If so, do you locate those numbers? What do you mean lock it by phone? Like, what credit reports are you referring to? Like, because if you're talking about Experian, Equifax, TransUnion, a lot of times you could do it online. If you got, like, especially in Experian, they allow you to lock it on and off. And also, I believe TransUnion have that too. You can do it. So you can do that online. You can do that. If it's a number, I'm not sure. But if you're talking about like LexisNexis and freezing those accounts, if that's what you mean, like locking, you can do that online too. So a lot of this stuff you can do online, but if you want to lock it through a phone call, you might have to Google that. I'm not sure, but I just can lock mines online. That's what I do with my Experian. I just lock it. I can turn it on and off. So you can do that if that helps. Um, should you freeze your LexisNexis? I mean, if you want to, mine's is frozen. I mean, yeah, yeah. Well, depending on what you're doing, you can. It could get you denied for some credit. Too. I have one credit card, but I pretty much move in and out. I haven't unfreeze mines, but yeah, I guess if you want to dispute, and then yeah, you can. So it's all up to you. Some people just dispute straight out without freezing and get things removed. It's the addresses that's a big part of how these things are sitting, is removing those addresses. Because the reason why it's the addresses, if y'all don't know, remember, there's a bunch of people in this world, even in my state I live in, with the name Sherry Beckley. So how do they identify me from another Sherry Beckley? It's by your address when you open that account. There's other personal identifiers like birth, date of birth, social security number. But one of the main ones is your address where you were living. Because there's some people with a real common name. Let's say like Michael Jackson, Steven Jackson, something like that. That's a very common name, that you might have 5 or 6 people in a big complex with that same name. So how do they identify that that's you? You see what I mean? They line it up with the address. So maybe house number, because people credit profiles, don't get it twisted, get merged. Especially like in the case, like my father have this case all the time. My brother is a junior. So senior and junior, exact name. And they always lived at the same address. The only difference was age and and social security number. And there was things my brother did many a times, a lot of times, that kept coming on my father's credit report because they lived at the same address and had the same name. So that happens a lot. And a lot of y'all maybe that have juniors will know that too. That would happen a lot. If you have a child with your same name that's named after you and lived in the same addresses as you, your file will be merged with theirs a lot. So keep that in mind. So that's why you want to remove those addresses. And B said car got repoed this January. Do you want that car back? Because I would try to settle the debt if I can and get it off and see if they can settle the debt, if you can get the debt settled, or try to dispute it. But I would really try to settle the debt and just keep moving forward. One thing about even settling a debt to see if they update it as paid as agreed, even the worst case as paid, charge off, at least you could move forward. I'll be honest. Some people just don't have time for that and they just want to get past it and get it over with. That's just really not a bad thing, especially if it's with the original creditor. So I'll try to resolve it that way since it's still with them. It's not with a collection company as of yet. So what you can do, if it's charged off, number one, wait 90 days and try your best to get an unsecured line of credit. So a credit card, and it depends on your credit score. I will wait, if it just happened January, to see what my credit reporting, what your score is around April, and then see what your options is for going for unsecured lines of credit. Even if you got to go with a subprime credit card, I don't know if you currently got a credit card, or if you currently got a credit card, just make sure, if a lot of people have financial trouble already, most likely they done charged up their cards. First step, pay that down if you have some. If you don't have a credit card, you need to try to get one. And then once you pay those cards down, moving forward, you still try to get one. Because as long as your credit score is under 700, if you can add unsecured lines of credit, which is a revolving credit card, to your credit profile, you'll see an average of 49 points increase. So that's what I'm going to always tell you is the first way to go. So that's what I would say with that. This does not constitute legal advice or, financial. I'm not a financial advisor. Let me just throw that in there. So if you're asking Sherry, what Sherry say, that's what I do. This is for educational purposes only. So just keep that in mind. All right. Kevin said, what type of card should you get if you have no credit score history? You should try to see if you can piggyback off of someone who do have credit history. That's what you first should do. And then depending on your age and your situation, are you a citizen? Are you not a citizen? You can, I would, number one, start, I think I addressed this almost last week, that you get yourself in the system, signing up for CVS, ShopRite cards, whatever. Get your name in the system and also sign up for Factor Trust. And also opt out pre-screen. You want to opt in so you can start getting card offers in the mail where they're selling your information to, like I said, that's the advantage of that. They're selling your information to different companies that's looking for your type of profile. And they'll send you pre-approvals in the mail. And that will be your better shot. But your best way is to start off, if you can, quickly, to be an authorized user. Go back and watch my thing I did last week talking about how to leverage friends and family to build credit. You need to take the advice of that. And I go into detail. So that's what you want to do. Authorize user and start putting your name in the system. And I have a whole layout of how you should approach that. So make sure you go and listen to that. But that's where you would start. Authorize user, getting on somebody, piggybacking on somebody's account, signing up for opt-out pre-screen, and you can start with store cards, Forever 21, Victoria's Secret. Go on my channel. I have the shopping cart trick that you can do. So try those first to see if you can be pre-approved. And also I have tons of credit builders, credit cards, videos. Go there and see if you can get a pre-approval. And if you get a yes or a no, if it's a no, don't ever try to apply. But use those pre-approvals in order to start building credit. But I will first start to see if I can be an authorized user on somebody. And then start going from credit cards then. Because that'll help add an unsecured line of credit. Good payment history. Because they should have. You want somebody with real good payment history. With not one single missed payment. And good utilization of their credit cards. Somebody who got good credit, or they know they got, to add you on, and you could piggyback off of their credit history to improve your age of credit, improve your payment history, and increase your unsecured line of credit, and that'll help give you a good credit score or build good credit across the board. So that should be helpful. All right. Connie said, yes, I had a car repo about 4 years ago. What should... is it a collection? Is it a charge off? Probably if it was 4 years ago, I'll try to dispute it if I can. If you're trying to buy a home, depending if it's with a collection company, I would try to dispute it with the bureaus. If it's still with that company, that debt, I'll see if I can settle it if I'm trying to buy a home. But if you have time and you ain't making no moves, I'll just dispute it with the credit bureaus. That's what I would do. So, all answer, if you're not trying to buy a home, dispute it with the credit bureaus. But if it's still with that same company and haven't been sold to a collection company, if you need to move forward to buy a home, I would try to settle it just to move on and try to get my home, if that's the move you want to make. But if you're not, just try to dispute it with the credit bureaus. That's where I would start. Okay, Tiffany said, is Smart Credit good credit monitoring system, and is it by FICO score? I'm not. Smart Credit, I'm not really sure. I'll have to look into it and get back to you, Tiffany, if you can, because honestly, I'm not sure, but I will look into it. Okay, and I'll bring you an answer. Honestly, I don't know, but I will look into it. All right, but I'm quite sure you can Google it. Okay, but I will look into it. Thank you. If anybody else bring up something I'm maybe not familiar with, I will look into it. Okay, I ain't gonna act like I know everything. So if not, I use this as a chance to educate myself, and next time I'll have the answer for y'all. All right. Sorry, Tiffany. Okay. Peace be still. Say I have 2 credit card charge offs. Should I pay them off? I want them completely removed from my credit. Well, who are they with? And is it worth the relationship? So if you can tell me who if they're with, like if they're with American Express, Chase, Navy Federal, if they're a good relationship, I mean those kind of relationships, you can pay it and see if you can with them reestablish a relationship with them to have it, because where else are you going to go, with certain companies? But if not, you got to kind of tell me how long ago it was charged off. Like I need like details, y'all, on age, because age does matter. Like how long, because say if it was 6 years ago, I wouldn't tell you to pay anything. You only got 1 year before it fall off. So this is why I kind of need like the age or when it happened, because that plays a big part on kind of gauging what you should do. So I need some details, all right, like that, if you can. Should we pay the creditor or the collection company when attempting to settle a debt? Number one, what type of debt is it? Because if it's a student loan debt, let's just put that. Student loan debt is a different type of debt. So you kind of trapped into that because your government had did that. But if it's with a collection company, apparently if you're saying that, no, you send a debt validation letter. I don't want to get deep into that. Do me a favor, y'all. If it's a collection, go and watch my videos on collections, because I don't want to get deep into that. So I want y'all to educate yourself and go like look at my videos I already did, because I break down the difference between a charge off and a collection and why you shouldn't really pay a collection, because it's really like they really don't majority of times have a legal right to collect on that debt. And I really and I went through my series on that. I really went into detail. I just don't have time to do all of that today. And it'll confuse half of the people if I try to really break down on what's the difference and why you should handle it a different way. So a lot of these questions, like I want y'all to know already the difference between the two, because it is a big difference on why you would handle a charge off difference than a collection, and why I say you generally don't ever pay a collection unless it's a student loan collection. It is what it is, you guys. It is what it is. But besides that, no, I don't pay collections. Never do I pay a collection. And I broke down why and what I do. So you want to send a debt validation letter. So I suggest y'all watch that video to see why I'm telling you what's the debt validation letter and why you should send it. Because it's a difference, okay? And the general difference, not to go into detail too heavy, a collection is the original creditor that you started the account with. And they will try to collect on that debt for probably generally 180 days. And when they cannot collect on that debt, they write it off or charge it off on their taxes. So they get a tax credit. A collection, third party collection, is them buying that debt from them, because that company, once they charge it off, they can't collect again, because it's double dipping. They got an IRS tax credit. And so therefore, if I say you owe me $2,000 and get a tax write-off or from the IRS of $2,000, then that's $4,000 I really made. Okay, so instead, they charge it off and they sell it. So that's how they get around it. They charge it off and get the tax credit and then sell the debt and they make more money. They don't lose, okay? They don't lose. Then they sell it to somebody you ain't never did business with. So if I never did business with you, I don't know you, where do I owe you? Where's the proof that they even have a right to sell that debt, the original creditor? Did I agree in writing that they can sell that debt? So that is the basis. That's why you send a debt validation letter to make them prove I got a right to pay you. I don't even know you. So I just can't knock on your door and hold your light bill and say, yo, pay me your light bill. Pay me. You would call the cops on me and tell me to get out of your face. Same with them. I don't even know you. I ain't never did business with you. I don't know who you are. So you gonna have to prove I owe you. That's the point of the debt validation letter. So why would you pay somebody you don't even know? That's the point. No, I ain't paying nobody. No, I don't even know you. I never did business with you. You never gave me an apple. You never gave me a t-shirt. You never gave me an Uber ride. So I don't know you, and I consider this extortion, really. That's what I do. And if you keep playing with me, I'm going to report you to the Postal Service Police, the postal inspectors, because you are using fraudulent, you're using the mail for fraud to try to extort money out of me, and you don't got proof I even owe you. So that's how I turn up, and then I sue them because you lying on me. Okay? Because the debt is old, don't mean anybody got a right to collect. Because you owe your car note. If you got your car repossessed, what do Sherry got to do with that? I got to show proof that I bought that contract or I bought that debt. I got to show proof, and they got to show proof that you agreed with that from the beginning. So that's the point. That's the whole thing. That's why I don't pay them, because it's extortion. The only way that it don't turn to extortion, because they cahoot y'all to get on the phone and say you owe AT&T some money and we're here, and you go, yup, I'll pay you. There you go. They got them. Got you. You bound a verbal agreement. Right there on the phone. That's how people get married. Just go right in front of the judge and say, yep, I do, to promise to love and hold. And guess what? It's going to take a divorce, a legal proceeding to get you up out of that. And you might be down in your bank account because they're going to leave with half of your change and maybe some monthly payments out of your paycheck because you bound a verbal agreement. Same thing with them on the phone. When they try to verify you, if you just simply tell them, listen, I'll talk to you, but I don't want to talk to you on a recorded line. Oh, I can't do that. And they'll hang up. Okay? Because that's the key. Is to record you and get you to thinking that you owe them something. They know that you don't owe them nothing. That they got to prove it. And it's not with a bill. Oh, I send you a bill for somebody else. That don't mean I owe you. So go and watch that video. I break that down. I break down that whole rant and that shabelle and how I get paid from them folks. I get checks off of them. Because let me tell you how you lied on me. And I'm taking you to court. I'm suing you, and get my money without hitting the courtroom. Pay up. I got my laptop to show y'all. I had did that last girl, but woo, Lord, I love it when they put it on me. Put it on there. I'm getting my paper. And if you keep playing with me, you gonna owe me. And guess what? I know a few of them that's after you. One good one that be on everybody credit report. Start with an L and a V. Got them. That's all I got to say. Got them because I had to sign an agreement. But I got them. Okay? Got you. You and you and you and you and you got sued. And you know what they did? Why you do this to me? Oh, you be surprised how quick they get to crying. Oh, the president, the vice president on the phone. Oh, why? Why didn't you go through the bureaus? Because you the one lying on me. I'm not going through no bureaus. I'm suing you in my state because you're lying on me personally. You run that company, I hold you. You on the board, I hold you personally responsible. You make the business decisions. And now I'm going to sue you. But, here you go. But, why you didn't dispute? I didn't have to dispute with them. I wrote y'all a debt validation letter too. Yeah, I know, but you agreed on the phone to pay. Yeah, I ain't never did. Give me the recording. And let me tell you, if you don't have the chain of sale on that debt to prove that, number one, where's the contract? Number two, where's the chain of sale? Because they constantly sell those debts. So who to say that you acquired that debt legally? They take people names. They do this. This is called debt parking. And just take your name and act like you owe them a debt and slap it on your credit report, because they know a lot of people don't know what I'm telling you. And get on the phone or just say, I could pay you $25. Now they got you. Now they got you because you agreeing to do business with them. When all you got to do is send them debt validation letters. They'll send that little BS, especially medical collections. First of all, that's a HIPAA violation. How y'all even got my medical information? And you not doing certain things with personal health information. They got to secure that. And who told you I gave you rights to my medical information? So that's a HIPAA violation. You can get that all the way up to a couple of mil for even being in violation, for knowing that they just drop off like flies when I hit them up. So that's what I'm saying. Y'all go and learn about all of that, because it is a big difference. Now, them folks with a collection charge off, you did business with them folks. Now you got to learn how you did business with them. If they coming to sue you, sometimes that ain't nothing but that lawyer ain't nothing but a debt collection company that's just, because it's more lucrative to doing law. They done bought that debt. So it's different ways on how to approach that. And I talk about all of that in my charge off videos on how you handle that in lawsuits. So hopefully that's helpful. Okay, somebody said I paid off balances from Capital One, and that was 1/28/22. 2 out of 3 bureaus updated it. Still one didn't. Should I dispute? You paid the balance off. You need to when is the report date? And so if one bureau didn't, with Capital One, I just call Capital One because Capital One is the one that report to them. And if they updated the other two, call Capital One and see if they can update it. And because they connected to that e-Oscar system, have them to hit them up. Okay, that's the quickest way. You want to get that done than disputing. Call Capital One because they can update that faster than you. All right. So hopefully that's helpful. BU, everyone is taking. Okay, got it. You right about that. I like that. Celeste said, BU, everyone else is taken. Anonymous said, what do you think of Navy Fed Credit Union pledge loan? Now, with the pledge loan, y'all know I don't like to add debt loans because it can mess up your debt to available credit. Now, if you're somebody new trying to build credit and doing a couple of 2 or 3 months and paying it off, you can do that. But I would prefer y'all to go with the secured credit card or an unsecured credit card. But if you're new to credit and you got to build, like the gentleman that said he don't have no, what to do, Kevin, with no pay, then that might be a option. But I'm not a fan on adding debt to put payments or payment history on your credit report. I would prefer for you to do it with an unsecured line of credit because that gives you an increase in your credit score. Because like I said, utilization, unsecured lines of credit versus debt. That's it. It's how much available credit you have to debt ratio. That's 30%. So you don't want to add more debt because it affects that 30%. So if you can, a lot of people add loans to get payment history, but you can make payment history by just paying those credit cards, or that credit card being reported paid or in good standing on time is like a good on-time payment. So that's my idea. Why would I add debt to be counterproductive when I could do it with credit cards and increase my credit score? But if you're starting to build credit, I guess it is a time and a place for it. If so it all depends on your situation. But do I say that's the first place you need to go? I went and had debt. Me myself personally, I'll try to get the Navy Fed secured credit card. But you can do it if it's a short term pledge loan that you can do some. Okay, if you're not going to be applying for credit. But remember, more debt can get you denied for stuff. Because say a home, if you got that loan on there that goes by your disposable income. So if you're paying off of a loan, which is a fixed amount of debt, let's say if it's $500 a month, that deducts from what you can pay out of your pocket towards this home. It will deduct on what you could qualify to pay out of your pocket for a car. So that's why I'm not particularly a fan. And anytime you close an installment loan, you'll see your score dip initially. And the reason why is because you're closing off age of credit. Credit cards continually go on, so it builds your age of credit. That's why they tell you never to close a credit card account, because it reduces your unsecured lines of credit and it closed down your age of credit. So that's why I'm not a fan. But I would try to get unsecured lines of credit. That's always my go-to. Okay? Now, Peace Be Still said, I moved to another apartment in a better neighborhood before applying for a house. I'm out in the country right now. Well, either way, I don't think with the home, it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be with the terms I was saying earlier. When I'm talking about, like, where you can qualify for things. Yeah, well, if you buying a home, sometimes in a certain neighborhood, they be funny about redlining. Maybe where you buying the home. But it's like with credit cards, where you live to the amount of credit they qualify you for. So that's what I'm trying to address. All right, but it could be in the neighborhood you're trying to qualify for a loan. Like my parents, it was 89. They bought a 6-family. It was in Newark. They couldn't get a loan for it. For a business, they would not give them a loan. It was really a form of redlining. And so they had to come up with the cash of $100,000 at that time, okay, out of pocket, because they would not give them a loan to purchase that in that community. All right. We did not live in that community at that time anymore, but they didn't care. And they was, they didn't care. So it was the fact that 6 was in that community. All right. And generally with commercial property like that, they want 20% down or whatever. They had to 20% down. They had the cash to put, and they would not accept that. They didn't want to give them the loan at all. So they had to come up with the whole 100,000 back in 89. That's just the way it went. So that's what I'm talking about. Where you live, where, certain loans, it has to do with certain communities. Okay? So hopefully. Hi, good night. I missed 6 payments with Discover, but the account is now closed for almost 2 years. Can I ask them to remove it? I would ask them to settle the debt. And to settle it, can they update it as paid as agreed? If it's not a charge off, I'll just call Discover and see if you can settle it. It's been over 2 years. If it's been over 2 years, try to, a good term they say is no more than 50% of that debt. If it's before 2 years, 75% of that debt. Now you can go lower or higher, depend, but that's a general good thumb. Like if it's been within 2 years, 75% of offering a settlement. If it's beyond 2 years, 50%. So I would try to settle that. If not, if you don't have the money to settle it, then you dispute it. But settling it and asking them to pay it as paid as agreed or paid for deletion would be the best route, the quickest route. Okay, I hope that's helpful. Kingdom Living said, I have a question. If you have a repo on your car that on your credit report that is 10 years old or more, you need to dispute that, because it shouldn't be on your credit report more than 7 years for that kind of debt. So make sure they're not re-aging that debt. Okay? So no, that should have came off some years ago. So you dispute that directly with the credit bureaus. Okay. Now, somebody said, Kingdom Live, how can I contact you? Oh, you can go straight to my website. I'll leave the link in the description of this video, or if not, you can go to my other video and I have the link. All right. And you can just submit your questions and go directly to my cell phone. D Money said the FTC do not play. No, they won't. They will put you in handcuffs and they'll come get that stuff. Oh, yes, they will. Yes, they will. They do not play. I had somebody call me up that heard that, and they was in the credit repair industry, and they got them hemmed up pretty bad. Like, look, it was them and their partner was looking at jail time, $500,000 fine, and they had to sell their home. It was not good. Okay, so you don't want to do it. Okay, so thank you so much, Steve. Thank you for joining me, and thank you, Loretta, for chiming in. You are so right. Yeah, don't do it. Okay, so let's say expose it. Thank you, everybody, for joining me in. And joining in with me. So Chic Essential says, as far as getting a P.O. box, where are you saying a real address of one? Well, what I'm saying is, like, one of those, they have addresses, is the address that you can get at a box that has a street address. So you don't want, like, really for it to say P.O. Box 1274 or this and that. You want one with a real street address. Okay, and set it up in your closest upscale community, wherever that is for you, because I can't, like, tell people in every state, because I don't know every state, but everybody know their own local area and what state you live in. So if I live in California, in the LA area, maybe Malibu, maybe what is the other one? Maybe where them Kardashians live. I think where they live. Somebody from LA up in here. Well, y'all know Brentwood, where LeBron live. Yeah, you want to get one or somewhere else. Beverly Hills maybe. So, and somebody said Sonic Essentials, one place are the up stores. Exactly, the up stores that have an actual address. So you want an address, but get it in one of your upscale communities. And then you apply there and try to send your bills there to do that, okay? And Loretta said, exactly, they're not licensed. I had a very bad experience. I was out of a lot of money, and now I can laugh. And you're absolutely right. Thank you, Infinite Hoops, for joining me. Thank you for being in the room. You always show up. And Lorraine say it's true. So, yeah, keep that in mind, y'all. A lot of these people doing credit repair, they not licensed to be doing that, okay? So, you just got to do that. You got to be careful. Can you do more than one hard inquiry dispute at a time? Oh, yeah, you can do that. You can do that. You definitely can do that. So, you can add them all on one time, especially with hard inquiries. Kingdom Living said, preach, you speaking the truth. Okay, Infinite Hoops, thank you. You back in. Sherry, my first inquiry was removed. Letter from, Santander, USA, came back, returned today. What do I do? They changed their address. What I would do, I would make a copy of, I'll make a copy of the outside of that, and I'll send it directly to the bureaus, because you could probably got that address off of your credit report. And so if that address is not correct, you tell them they need to remove it, because that's inaccurate information reported on your credit report. So I will send that copy of that return, just the outside of that. In the front, I'll copy that and send that to a dispute with the credit bureaus that this is inaccurate information. The address they have for your disputes, to send your disputes, is not correct on your credit report. Therefore, it needs to be removed. Mr. White said, can you use the deletion letter to remove accounts that's been charged off? Yes, you can. You can always dispute to do that, and any deletion letter. Thank you, Tawanda, for joining me today. I really appreciate for you to chime in. And I'm going to shut this down. I'm going to ask if y'all have any last minute questions. I'm going to, but I'm going to be logging out. I appreciate all of you guys. Jalen said, hi, Sherry. I just discovered your YouTube channel. Thanks so much for your generous knowledge. I have 2 collections, high balance on 3 credit cards. I'm working to pay them down. Where to start? Now, you said collections. Okay, if you got a collections, don't pay them down if they're high balance collections, not charge-offs, because the charge-off is still with the company. But if it's a collection, it's a third party. Make sure you go to my YouTube channel and learn all about how collections work, because they're borderline illegal. I will dispute them with the bureaus if they're really high. And when I'm saying really high, unless they're medical. If they're medical, I'll send a dispute. Tell me what kind of charge-offs are there, consumer or medical? Because if it's medical and they're high balance, I'll send a debt validation letter. And regardless, just send a debt validation letter to them first, and then dispute with the credit bureaus if it's a really high balance, okay? But send that debt validation letter first. Make them show they got legal right to collect on that debt. Peace Be Still said they're both First Premier cards like 3 years ago. I'll dispute that. Well, it couldn't be that much if it's First Premier. See if you can settle that debt and have them to report it as paid as agreed if it's not if it's not a collection, okay? If it's a charge off, it's different, okay? But if it's a collection, something different. Collection, I wouldn't pay them. But if it's a charge off, I just handle that with a debt validation letter if it's a collection. But if it's a charge off, call First Premier, see if you can settle the debt for them to pay, do a paid as agreed or pay for deletion. All right, check that out. Infinite Hoop said, hello, Sherry, our YouTube crush, licking your lips. I got a little, okay now. Good, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. You always come in every Saturday. I really appreciate your support. Thank you, D Money. And Miss Hart said, I tried to dispute with TransUnion. Never again. Oh, TransUnion has been dirty lately, too. They've been one of the main and they used to be easy. But not no more. Lord, they have been one of the ones that the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau said that they've been really resistant removing items off of people credit, last year during the pandemic. So thank you, Miss T, for joining me. I really appreciate your support. And I'm going to get out of here, you guys. And Miss T said, don't pay them neither. You can stay on your credit until 7 years and pass. I'm good. You are absolutely right. And be careful. If it's almost out of there, don't pay them. You got to be careful with certain debts, because you can open yourself up for a lawsuit. So make sure you always check your statute of limitations on like them suing you. So you want to be careful with collections for sure, and charge-offs, because you don't want to open yourself up for a lawsuit if it's past the statute of limitations. Okay? So hopefully this was helpful. Thank you all for joining me. I really appreciate you guys. And next week, I'll be coming back to you to answer your questions if you have new questions. If you also know about my credit channel, go and join and go through some of my old content. And you can get that information that I made those videos. And when we come here, ask me those questions now when you apply those situations to your own. Thank you, King. I really appreciate you, each and every one of y'all coming in to join me. And I hope you guys have a safe and wonderful weekend. Be safe out there. Love you guys. Thank you, Peace Be Still.